The puzzle is, okay, first of all, we need to make sure that we have all the training zones taken care of. In 5K cross country, or even on the track, 2 mile, 800, there's different training zones that you're going to need to tap into in every case. In my opinion, the most important is, of course, the aerobic zone. Okay, we need to be super aerobically strong. In Amy's case, that is that is a strength for her naturally, but it wasn't necessarily a strength for her coming into this segment because her previous coach did a great job, but was very conservative. So I felt like and again, she's a 26-year-old woman, so it's a little different than high school, but I felt like I needed to pick up her mileage. I felt like that was one piece to her puzzle that we needed to do, especially considering this was going to be an 8K cross-country race, and she really hadn't raced that far yet. For you guys, in terms of mileage, and Mike will talk about later what the kids need to be at by their senior year in terms of being ready for college, but I don't think mileage is as dangerous as some people tend to make it out to be. I think you can push the envelope on the boys and girls side, but you just have to do it in a safe way. Again, you have to look at things individually. Where is this athlete coming from? Did they come from a middle school program? Have they ever run a step in their lives? Were they active? Did they play a lot of sports? Then you get to know them as people. Are they a person that gets stress fractures? Can they handle a little bit more? I don't think there's one set of I don't think there's one template to use in terms of mileage for the kids on your team. I think you need to learn about them as individuals. Amy, in this case, had been running 60s for her mileage, which I don't think is very high for a high-level professional. I wanted her to get up to 80, but I wanted to do it in a safe way. So that was one piece to the puzzle for her. You know, just kind of going through the zones from slowest to fastest. I'm a big fan of what I call the steady state zone. I don't see a lot of high school coaches use it. As I've helped high school coaches in the past, haven't used it, but I think it's something that I would change now and I would recommend to you. The steady state zone is doing work in that zone that is, it's not an easy run, but it's not as fast as a tempo. When I say tempo run, I'm talking about a pace that's your lactate threshold pace. I'm not going to try to over-science you guys, but I don't think you need to be over-scienced. The fact of the matter is lactate threshold pace is the pace at which you could run or race at for 1 hour. Now, obviously, these kids aren't racing for 1 hour, but if they were, talent-wise, based on what they can run for the 5K, that's the pace we're talking about. Steady state is slower than that, but it's not an easy run. For athletes of this caliber, it usually equates to about their marathon pace. So for Amy, at 7,000 feet, this is another variable that I deal with in Flagstaff. I have to take like 15 to 17 seconds off per mile. But for her, that's like 5:55 to 6-minute pace is her steady state pace at altitude. So I wanted to make sure we did some work in that zone. That zone is really good for, the layman's term I use for it is like staying power. Just that ability to learn what it's like to feel comfortable running fast for a long period of time. I am a big fan, big component, or big proponent of learning how to run fast and relaxed, okay? I don't think you can run really fast and race really fast until you've mastered that art. And you don't master it running 200s as fast as you can, okay? That's not how it works. The steady state zone is a great way to learn how to run fast and relaxed because it's not that hard. What you do is you start making them farther and farther and farther. And even a high school kid can do a steady state run for 6, 7, 8 miles because that's not that crazy of a workout. Again, she's a 15:22 person, so I'm saying that her steady state range is like 15 or 540-ish at sea level. That's not that hard for somebody that's that fast. So you got to do the math for your folks. But I would encourage you, and they're great early in the season too, because again, they're not going to get you super fit. We don't want to be super fit early. So that was a piece to the puzzle for her. The tempo run zone, the lactate threshold part of things, that is what I feel is the most important. And physiologically, the testing shows that's where you can make the biggest improvements. You have these kids on your team, and can you get them a little faster over the course of 4 years? I mean, pure speed, like pure just pick it up, lay it down speed? Sure you can. Not that much though, okay? Not near as much as you can improve their lactate threshold. And that's really what it's about when it comes to racing fast. in this particular scenario, I'm getting her ready for an 8K cross-country race. Well, that race is going to take her 27 minutes. I mean, we're talking about lactate threshold. So I wanted to increase that. That was a big piece to the puzzle that I wanted to put into her training plan, and I think should be an important piece for you. Those kind of workouts are, a 3-mile tempo run, a 4-mile tempo run. Probably doesn't need to be a whole lot longer than that. Maybe 5-mile tempo run for some of your top people. It probably shouldn't last more than 30 minutes. Now you can also do what I call a cut down tempo run, and I think I had one of those on her schedule where you start a little slower and then you get into that tempo run zone, so you get a little more volume out of the workout, but you still only spend about 3 miles or so in that actual lactate threshold zone. I wanted to do that type of workout, and this is another piece to the puzzle, is you got to think about what are we getting ready for, Some of you are getting ready for the state meet. You have that type of team. Your team's going to be at the state meet. Some of you it's sectional, some of you it's district, conference, whatever it might be. For her, it was the national championships, and they were going to be in Boulder, Colorado at 5,000 feet. Well, I felt like that race wasn't going to go out fast. That was my prediction. Now, you never know for sure, but I felt like because of the altitude, people weren't going to go out fast. So we needed to do some workouts where we picked it up as we went along. So we kind of tightened the screws, and by the end we're hammering. I felt like that was going to be part of the race strategy, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I wanted to do workouts like that. Here's the thing, and Jim's so good at this, and I hope I've picked up some of this. A lot of it is just getting them to believe, And I don't go into explaining all the science of every workout to them. Okay, that's going to bore them. What I want them to know is, hey, there's just a reason behind it, just a simple reason behind it. And when I remember that particular workout, because that was the one where I was like, oh man, she might be able to win this thing, because I think she started at 6 minutes, 5 or 6 mile tempo, and cut down to 5:20 for her last mile at 7,000 feet. So that's like closing in almost 5 minutes for a woman. That's really good. And I was like, you see, you're ready now, because this is exactly how the race is going to be, and boom, they believe it, so in their head, they're like, oh yeah, I can tighten the screws. I can be the one, to bring the pace down. So that was a big piece of the puzzle, should be a big piece of the puzzle for any of you guys in a cross-country season or even in a track season. As you go up the triangle or the pyramid, obviously the VO2 max work, the mile repeats, 800s, things like that. I wanted to get some of that in. I probably didn't do as much of that during this particular segment because of the fact that we had things we had bigger fish to fry down the road in the track season where we really wanted to do a lot of that work. But she needed some of that work, obviously, to handle the pace and handle the race. So I think we did a set of 800s in this segment. We did a set of 1200s in this segment. I also like to, and this is important for you guys to know, and I'll talk about this in a minute with spacing things out, not every workout has to only hit one training zone. So I like to get a lot of bang for my buck out of my hard days. I think the race is hard, so I think the workout should be hard. This is my philosophy, take it or leave it, but I don't like to do as many workouts as a lot of coaches do. Again, I know it's more fun for the coach to do a workout on Tuesday and a workout on Thursday and then race on Saturday because it's fun to watch a workout. It's a lot more fun than sending the kids out on an easy run. But that's just not how I do it. So for us, we always go hard, easy, hard, easy, long. Now, we're not structured, we don't have to live by the 7-day schedule where they don't go to school, so it's easy for me to structure it that way. So the long run might end up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It doesn't have to be on the weekend like it does for adults or something, and we don't race every weekend like you guys do. But the point is, I like to space the hard workouts out. And doing that, it forces me to make sure that I'm getting everything in because I'm not working out every other day, so I don't have as much time. I don't have as many hard workouts. So I might do a tempo run and then add 4 400s onto the end, or add some hill repeats onto the end. So I'm still getting all the pieces to the puzzle into the training plan, but I'm not one day's not hills, one day's not a tempo run. One day, you can add more things and spice it up. I especially, going up the pyramid, okay, don't like to waste a whole day on speed, because when you look at especially 5K cross country, it's such a small percentage of the race. So I don't like to spend a whole day working on speed usually. So that's why I like to get it in a couple different ways. Either after a tempo run, or after a set of mile repeats, doing a few 200s, a few 400s, or on the easy days, just drills and strides. There's something to be said for that. It works on form, works on a little bit of turnover, engages the fast twitch muscle fibers, okay? But I'm not spending a whole hard day on it, and I'm not doing anything that's going to wipe them out and leave them gassed for the next day. I usually, the way I structure it, remember easy, easy, hard? The first easy day, the day after a hard day, usually doesn't even involve any drills or strides. They're just recovering from the day before. And then in the after, they do 2 runs a day. So in the afternoon run, the afternoon before a hard session, that's when they'll do a nice set of drills and strides. Wakes them up a little bit, gets them ready for the next day, works on a little bit of speed, a little bit of turnover. At the same time, we do speed workouts occasionally. I think she had one set of 200s during this segment just to work on it and feel real good and feel real fast. But I don't do a whole ton of that. That's just my philosophy. And then I think the last piece for her, and it was unique to this segment, but it's just interesting. Since we were racing at Boulder at 5,000 feet, we're lucky enough to have Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, and they have a very nice 300-meter indoor track, and they happen to have a college meet the week before Boulder. And so they didn't love this because it hurts really bad, but I had them race an indoor mile the week before this race because I thought, well, there's no way that it's going to hurt worse than that because running an indoor mile at 7,000 feet sucks. So I felt like if they did that, at least they would know there's no way it could hurt that bad, especially to handle the first mile if it was fast and things like that. So those were all the pieces to the puzzle for her, for Amy, for that particular segment. You have to figure out what the pieces to the puzzle are for you, for your team.